at all that you guys have that in your backgrounds. I think.
Well, here's a good piece of information for you. My first guitar I had was a long, long time ago, and I played here, played there on a guitar. But my bro's never played a guitar until we got one a few months back, and he's been trying it out and this. And he's only been doing it for 5 minutes. And he played far better than I ever will on it.
Really? Well, I saw the picture. I know you have a picture of that's something that was yours, Anton, and then Zach was playing?
Oh, no, we bought...
By the way, I appreciate the compliment, Anton, but you were tearing that shit up last night, too, a bit. You're like, oh, you can play it better than me, but you were ripping it up.
Yeah.
And you looked great with it on there, too. I think this needs to be a two guitar group.
Yeah, we're actually contemplating, we're sort of making this financial commitment, should we buy another guitar?
Yeah, that's what we're doing this time around. Anton's here and we're setting the studio up, so we have a lot of great equipment and stuff now to work with, and some good software, and we're putting it all together. And
Dave, you can cut this out of the interview, but
no. Oh yeah, go ahead. No,
Zach, I bought a JDXI a few months back. You know, little mini Roland crossover synth.
Oh, no, I was going to ask what that was.
I was on it for 14 hours, and I thought, right, Zach needs this in his life. I'm going to send it over. Now, I was thinking it had been playing around for months. He'd not even touched it since it arrived. But last night when I put that on, gee, you mate, it was all over it. It's a great piece.
Yeah, I couldn't stop playing it.
And if you guys do any live stuff, I mean, 2 guitars would just be incredible live. I mean, you on stage, you know, throwing your hair back and forth, but forget that part. Throwing your heads back and forth, or wear wigs or something. With the 2 guitars would be awesome together. And we, of course, most of us, and that's what I was looking for today. I was trying to put a GIF on your post about the guitar, and I was looking for Edgar Winter because he really came up with the idea of wearing a keyboard and walking around the stage. You know, that was his idea, and he's sort of that. What's that?
I didn't know that. That's a good piece of information.
Yeah. He actually, and he'll be more than happy to tell you when you see him in interviews. He said I want to be moving around with this thing, so he just put a strap on it and started wandering around. Now that's not exactly the guitar per se, but the idea of walking around with a keyboard, wearing it, and being able to walk around the stage and everything was his. And of course, he's a lifelong
portable keyboards.
This mini Roland synthesizer I've got. I actually bought myself a strap and some hooks and was going to add an extra bar onto it and turn it into a guitar. But before I dared, what I would say, excuse the French, bastardize it, I wanted Zach to see how it was. Because the one we have is a limited edition.
Now, I mentioned the possibility of playing live. I did want to ask you about live performances in your separate backgrounds and everything, but let's play another song for us. Let's play a second song from the forthcoming EP, and this one is called Trance Dancer. And that was Trance Dancer by the Surgemasters. Tonight's special guests with Octane from Project Octane and Zach Whitworth of Whitworth got together and been making some incredible music in addition to their individual projects that you can also enjoy. So, speaking of getting together, now you have a name. This is something that we can't ask every act because, you know, you ask someone who's using their own name, how did they come up with it? And it's like, well, you know, I looked at my driver's license and there it was, boom, you know, and my birth certificate and there it was, boom. But you guys actually had to come up with a name, Surgemasters, which is a great name. So how did that come about? Who thought of that? You know?
Well, we were plucking around with ideas between us, and Mamacita kind of got these vibes that, you know, we're not happy. What's up? And our stepfather Doug, he said something like, what's up boy, to Zach, and he said the Surgemasters. That kind of sold the idea to me a bit, and I thought about it and thought, well, why not? Because that's what we are. Yeah,
it's easy to remember, and it has powerful connotations. It's like AC/DC. It's something with a charge and a voltage and a you know, it does have a powerful connotation to it, and I think that makes for a great name, and it's not one you're going to forget. So it is a terrific name, and it does certainly suit you. Another question, you touched on it briefly before, but let's hear that again. We don't always get to ask this too, especially when we're dealing with a solo artist, but this is two previously existing acts that got together, and sometimes that really works out, like with Per Gessle and Marie Fredriksson. They were big stars in Sweden, and nobody anywhere else in the world really knew them until they got together and called themselves Roxette, and then they suddenly became an international phenomenon. And hopefully that'll happen for you guys. So who was it that actually kind of approached the other one to get this union going together here? Me, I'm usually the one on one knee with the ring. Will you sing for me, please? You know, but pitching and approaching people. But which one of you, somebody probably said it first. How did you come to decide to work together? Obviously, you have similar talents, similar tastes, so the idea of working together, just because you're mates doesn't necessarily mean you'd want to make music. But so who did think of that?
Well, Anton had a piece called Insomniac, which I really liked. And we just decided that I would remix it for fun and just see what happens. And it turned out that it was good, and we kind of fed off of each other's styles with the piece. I mean, it was inspired by his piece, and then I did sort of my own personal thing with it. And it's the remix is kind of a perfect mix of the two, I think. And it's and since Anton liked what I did with it, we just decided we would start playing around with some music and ideas and stuff we were writing, and we went back and forth with a number of pieces and created some nice pieces of music that, you know, we worked musically, you know, well on together, kind of right off the bat. But also we Anton and I are kind of good in different parts of music. I feel like Anton is great at everything that I completely suck at, and so that's that all the gaps are filled, we found musically, and that was an important thing. And then I filled some gaps that maybe Anton didn't have, and when we put our project together, you know, it was just it fit together perfectly. So we could pick up the slack where the other may be weak, and I guess that's why people form groups. It's to always learn. It's always a learning experience, and working with different musicians. And Anton's like the high tech guy. Like, I don't understand half of the shit that he does, as far as, you know, he's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, I'll send him a track that I wrote, and he'll say, okay, I'm gonna master that, and I'm expecting to get it back 4 days from now, and then I hear a beep on my phone. It's like ding, and I look, and Anton sends me a message saying, oh, it's mastered, bro, have a listen. And it's like 3 minutes later, and it's like oh, cool, okay. So
not that fast.
No, it's a lot.
Maybe
you are that fast. But so we have these different skill sets that come together into a really large skill set. We both have very different experiences musically, but a lot of experiences, and with a lot of different kinds of music. And you know, and Anton also is the sort of the talented graphic artist too. She's trying to teach me, and I'm a slow learner when it comes to that stuff. But he He also sent me I sent Anton Cannon. He sent the Canon Master back 2 minutes later, and then he said, "Oh, I'm making a fucking pardon my
cover.
French. I'm making a cover." I was like, "Oh, cool, yeah, I'll see that in a couple days too." He sent it to me like 10 minutes later. "What do you think of this?" It was perfect. So, kind of the whole package is there. We can do kind of DIY to a point and have it all be well done. Then you call on people like Charlotte Blanchard to help sometimes.
Yeah,
yes. I wanted to mention that the graphic aspect of it for the listeners, when pretty much anything you see in terms of promotional material for Fusion is probably Anton. The videos, certainly. Now, you will see a lot of Kurt Sibling art accompanying Butterflies and Hurricanes. If you see basically hermaphroditic, buxom women with virtually no clothes on, with all kinds of weird appendages and doing strange things to ponies, that's Kurt Sibling. Kurt Sibling's deviant art. He does a lot of very eye-catching stuff for Fusion, for Butterflies and Hurricanes and Louis Drayton. But a lot of the rest of it is from Anton. What is it, iDigital, Ant? Is that right?
iDigital's a media company, yeah.
And that's you, though. That's your media company, right?
Yeah.
And now, didn't you work together on Zach's video, She Was a Flower?
Yeah, we shot 2 videos, down in Southampton.
Yep, you Southampton and London.
He's I had a great team. But the main lady that stands out in this industry, especially as a model, is Helen Stevens. And she is... I've worked with a lot of different people in my time, especially models, which I use a lot, obviously, in music videos and things. But Helen Stevens was just so on point in that video.
Yeah, and She Was a Flower video.
She Was a Flower, and we are so looking forward to getting her in one of our next videos that we're going to shoot next year here. So yeah. But at the end of the day, I think those videos were edited very, very quickly, weren't they? But I wanted to keep the edginess.
And it worked. Yep.
Oh,